What's up? What's up? What's up? All right, so hey, it's Mike Frank with Berkshire Hathaway, Frank Oliver and Company, coming to you with Christian Olson here.
Hello, hello.
So we're talking about selling high and buying low in today's market. If you watch the show today, you'll know we talked a little bit about accomplishing goals, kind of making yourself known in today's market and understanding kind of what you can do differently just on a very high life scale. But I wanted to hear from you, Christian, what you felt like a way that somebody could sell high in today's market and still protect themselves by buying low.
I don't know. I don't think there's one perfect answer for this, especially because everyone's situation is different when it comes to selling and buying. Like, are they looking to upgrade, like, size? Or are they looking to downgrade? Because obviously, if they can downgrade from the current house that they're in, then they have a lot more money to work with when it comes to buying.
these are the little things that come in the conversations. There, as my coach would say, it's the conversation over the beer in the bar, not what's written in the contract. Ultimately, that is what ends up happening. But by picking up the phone and calling the other agent, having that rapport where, hey, is your client interested in this home? Yeah, I mean, they might be interested. Well, what could we do that would entice them to buy this house? Right? Because they have the choice of any home in the marketplace. What could we do to entice them to buy this house? What's the conversation going to look like between me and a buyer's agent? What's the conversation going to look like between myself as a buyer's agent and the listing agent? I pretty much tell everybody, like, it's going to be more fun to work with me than anybody else in the market.
Okay, yeah.
So, like, you set that tone, you set that expectation to create that opportunity that take that little $1,000 edge, like, you get these little openings and these little, nuances that just can't be put in writing because you can't promise it.
Yeah.
Trying to think, like, when you represented Dax,
Okay.
do you think that you represented his best financial interest in, buying low?
I would hope so. But in today,
Can you accentuate it? Can you say why it was the best price? Can you say why you got under contract?
Yeah, I think because that property was on the market a little bit longer than most properties are. So you have a little bit more leverage and you can kind of, I guess, negotiate a little bit more when it comes to price, like your inspections. And then we went in as is and he still bought the house, but it needed like an entire new roof, an entire new AC unit. And I think that value probably added up to, the roof had been 20 plus thousand, AC unit probably 5. And he only had to bring $5,000 more and he got an entire new roof and full new AC.
Yeah, but that's the story. And for those of you that missed it, right, what happened in the negotiation, this is Christian's literal first client. First client ever.
About a year ago actually a couple more months, but.
Yeah, it's like 9.5 months ago, I think. But like, the story goes, I got this appointment with this guy. I'm going out to show him this house. Goes out to show him the house, and the guy goes, yeah, let's make an offer. Christian makes an offer. Done, right? Was your offer the most competitive thing on the world? No, it wasn't. You were trying to be competitive in today's market, and it wasn't the most competitive option out there. But I think what differentiated it was what you did after you went under contract. Because you had that home inspection. You had those deals where the roof, the HVAC, the flooring, the porch, there was a bunch of issues with the house, and you were able to cultivate for your buyer, the seller to pay, what did the seller pay, 10 grand?
For what, for everything?
For the roof.
The roof had to have been way more. They quoted it at 18, but I think that was kind of...
Oh, the seller did the roof.
Yeah.
So you negotiated for the seller to do the actual roof, to conduct like the complete roof before your buyer bought the house.
Yeah.
And that's like, you can't put that in writing, right? Like, you just can't. I'm going to text this dude back real quick.
Well, also, okay, going back to buying low, we can go to Benjamin Larson. I don't even know if you remember his situation, his story, but probably met him sometime last year. We kept in contact over the next 12 months, and then he just ended up closing on a house. I think it was May, I think. But anyways, going into buying low in today's market, he definitely did not have the highest price at all. And I kind of knew that from the start. Even when they did final and best offer, we only increased ours about $5,000 to, I think, $305. And there was definitely people over us. But calling the agent, and she was like, who's your lender? We're working with Ryan Curley at First Home Mortgage. She's like, oh, no way. Like, local lender, we'd love that. My daughter works there. They have a great relationship. Like, all this other stuff. And just because he had a local lender, he didn't have to pay some premium price. He was able to get in for lower. So right. I think if some seller wants to come to the market, sell their home, they should definitely have that talk with a local lender if they're looking to buy once they sell. And maybe they can get in at a less competitive price.
Yeah, I mean, that's another good point, right? Like, how can you protect your client? How can you create an opportunity for them by using hey, Liz says hi, by the way. Great. No, she's listening to this podcast. by referring them to a great lender, by putting them in position for their own success. But how do you put that in writing? Right? Like I think that's the thing that people miss in today's market is like they want to hire somebody. And what did we talk 2 weeks ago, Liz? Now I have Liz on the brain. Right? We talked about it wasn't the team, it was just positioning yourself for success, right? Like where you're getting your opportunity to put yourself in a place to succeed by working with the right people. I can't explain it. It's hard, and it's hard to position, but understandably, all buyers are confused. They don't know who to hire. They don't know who to choose. Mm-hmm. And that's what it was. It was choose the person, not the experience, right? So like, oh, this guy's got 26 years of experience. That's great. Well, did he sell a house a year for 26 years or did he sell 26 houses last year? Right. But also, like, what if you hire me? Like, no offense to anybody, but if you hire me, like, you have to know that you're going to get less personal time than if you hire somebody like you. Right. No offense to anybody. I'm just not going to give them the commitment of time that you have and willingly give to people. There's just a lot more on my plate. I'm managing more things, and I do believe the value that I provide is tremendous, but it's just I can't give you the time that you want if you want somebody to hold your hand and walk you through the door. I've got all the experience in the world, but that doesn't make me the right person for you.
Yeah. When you're talking about you can't put things in writing or it's not whatever we were just talking about, like can't put things in writing, whatever. That kind of just like clicked in my head about like, agents, they just operate kind of like straight off the contract. Like when we took that, what was that test where you're like, oh, what's Christian's personality?
The disc profile test.
Like some people's personalities, like you just present like this path in front of them, they follow it. And that's what a lot of people in real estate agents, whatever, will do. They don't have that conversation about a local lender. They don't have these crazy conversations to get their clients a new roof because they went in as is, right? We went in as is. We got a new roof AC. They don't have that conversation like, well, we went in as is. Like, looks like the deal's
because
over.
It's literal. It's what it says in the contract.
Exactly.
Right.
And now I'm thinking like, okay, well, like it just clicked. Like we're not just following the contract. We're going out, creating other ideas, other value to bring to our client. And it's like people are doing themselves and their clients a disservice by just following.
Right. Well, and that's what we've been in for the last year, right? The last 2 years, buy low, sell high. It's been this idea of like sell high, buy high, right? Because the only way that you can buy a house in today's market, let's just say 6 months ago, was to pay that 3 to 5% or 35% according to Andrea, right? Like pay this 3 to 5% over list price. And that was true. Like if you want to be negotiable, the first argument was getting your offer won, right? Then it was this argument of, how do we get through the contract process? And I think that what it comes down to is like our client, Abby Cronin. I had a conversation with her on Friday, and literally I could hear it in her voice. Like she was mad at me, like a girlfriend, just like angry, right? And then at the end of the conversation, it's like 8:45 at night, Friday night, and she's like, "Thank you, Mike." And I go, "Why?" And she goes, you like talk me off a ledge. Like you find a way to like make everything okay and it's going to work out. And lo and behold, she got exactly what she wanted this morning. Like she signed the documents this morning where she got a credit to pay for X, Y, and Z to take care of what she needed because that's our job. We can't negotiate for her, but we can help her accomplish the goal by setting reasonable expectations, by creating opportunity. And so she knows that she's quote unquote buying high, but maybe by negotiating for that $2,000, we're positioning her to spend more in equity, more in an investment into the home where she's going to now have a great place to live as compared to buying something that might be 20 grand less, but she doesn't have the love or the appreciation for the actual process. Right. I do think that 90% of all agents in today's market don't bring the value. They just it's what's on paper.
Yeah. And listing agents out there, if that's you,
we can't go into this. This is like Maryland realtors. They're listening and they're gonna come find us. But ultimately, I think I had an argument with a listing agent the other day, and her argument was, "What does your buyer know that they're outside of their contingency period?" And my argument was, yes, I've informed the buyer. He's aware of the position that we're in, but ultimately, he doesn't want to buy this house if X. And, well, but he has to. He doesn't have a right. He's not going to get his $10,000 deposit back. Well, he'll get declined for the mortgage. No, he won't. I will see to it that he quits his job and gets declined for the mortgage. Like,
checkmate.
Like, you can say, oh, he's outside of his contingency, or you could say, hey, how do we get this done? Right? Because ultimately, this buyer doesn't want to terminate the contract. That's why they move beyond their contingency period. But they do want to get this done, and they're going to see to it because this is that big of a deal. Literally, it's a failed septic system. It's a big deal, right? Yeah. So we're now working together. And of course, the buyer offered to split the cost. And what happened today? The seller's agent called me back and says, hey, we're going to split the cost. Boom, done. But it's not what's written on paper. It's not literal. It's getting the deal done and setting the expectations for the clients that we work with. Yeah. So going back all the way back to Courtney, right? She sells her house for literally $45,000 more than what she was anticipating. Knock on wood. Hey, there's Abby right there.
She's listening.
She's listening. So she sells her house for $45,000 more than she was anticipating from the other agent. She makes the profit plus some profit that she wasn't anticipating. We get her into a position where she doesn't have to live with family for an extended period of time. She feels confident in our ability to represent. She's going to use you as her buyer's agent. Like, it's just all things work well when you work together to buy low and sell high. But it's not literal. It's not like, oh, I want to list my house as high as possible. And it's not, let's undercut this buyer or this seller by offering $50,000 less. Yeah. It's the little things like getting Dax the new roof, like getting Abby the $2,000 this morning. It's the little things that differentiate, that create an opportunity to sell high and buy low in today's market.
I love that for you.
I love that for you. Yeah. There you go. There you go. A little Christian recording. Anyway, so we're going to be doing this a lot more, talking about our topics from the To Be Frank show that we do every Monday at 11 a.m. live on Facebook. If you guys don't watch it, you can always catch it on our YouTube channel, on our page, and there's going to be more podcasting coming to you. If you ever need anything here in Maryland or around the country, we've got a network of great agents that we work closely with. So thank you, Christian, for this morning.
Thank you.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Boom.
Thanks so much, guys. As always, it's Mike Frank with Berkshire Hathaway, Frank Oliver and Company. You can find us online, frankoliverco.com. You can get me on Instagram or Facebook, Michael Frank, and on Instagram with 3 underscores after. You could search by Frank Oliver Co. and on TikTok, Frank Oliver Co.
And you can find me, Christian Olson, at Christian the Deadhead on Instagram, and then the Deadhead Realtor on TikTok. I'm also with Frank Oliver Co. and Berkshire Hathaway.